Hello again, everyone. Much to my surprise, my Schmincke highly granulating tubes of watercolor came incredibly quickly. So I am going to swatch these today, put them into half pans, and then swatch them. I have set up a little palette here. This palette I don't think I have shown on the channel before. It is the Compact Palette 2. Let's see. Herring Product Dorchester. So this is from a UK art shop, and I will put a link to it down below. The reason why it's already a little bit dirty is that I had handmade watercolors in this palette, and I was mixing and using them in this palette, but I had since moved the handmade watercolors into a different palette because I had acquired more handmade watercolors since I had them in here. This has 16 half pans, and you could, if you tacked them down with something, you could put more. Like down here in this little slot where you could either put a brush, you could also put a row of half pans down, or full pans down here. I may end up putting some tacky material on the bottom of these so that they will stay in their little cubbies here. But for now, I'm just going to leave them like this and then try to leave them upright while everything dries. So although this has 16 pans loaded in here, there are only 15 highly granulating Schmincke colors, and I only have 9 of them today. And I went ahead and got the rest of them today. They restocked. And I will put a link down below to where you can find the links, the individual links to each individual color. Schmincke sent me a newsletter, and in that newsletter they sent a link to the information about these particular watercolors and links to each individual color. So I will put that down below. So today what I have done is I have a little swatch sheet that I'm going to be working off of, and I have already marked off each of the collections. So there are 3 different highly granulating collections. One is called Glacier, one is Galaxy, and one is Deep Sea. So I have arranged, and there's 5 of each. So I've arranged these in this palette so that the different collections will be together. And so the ones that I do not have yet, I will just leave blank or missing in my palette here. So, and then I'll have one extra half pan that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put there yet, but I thought given the number in here this would be a good fit. So I'm going to go ahead and open the boxes so we can see the tubes, and then we will fill the pans and swatch them. So there should be 3 tubes of paint in each of these, and each of them is a 15 milliliter tube, so these will last a while. So this is, they just say special edition, so this is Glacier Green, Glacier Brown, and Glacier Black. So I'm going to keep those together. And then the next one, let's see what we have in here. Oops. Let's get those out of that box. So these, oh no, it doesn't look like they kept all the different collections together. So this is Galaxy Brown and Galaxy Pink. And then this is Deep Sea Indigo. So let's put those there. Put that one down on the bottom here. And as far as I know, at least for now, this is the only way that they sell these, is in these 15 milliliter tubes. Given that they're special edition, I don't expect them to last forever. So that's part of the reason why I went ahead and got the rest of the colors. Initially, I thought I left out most of the blues, if not all of the blues, because I felt like on the website they kind of looked like other blues that I had. But, you know, blues in particular are colors that is a color that I use a lot. So I went ahead and got them. Yes, it's a little bit expensive for this whole set. It's about $150 for all of the different colors in all of the tubes. But that's part of the reason why I broke it up, so that I wouldn't be paying the whole chunk at once. So let's see. So here we have Deep Sea Green, Deep Sea Black, and then Glacier Turquoise. So it looks like I only have 2 of the Galaxy colors, 3 of the Deep Sea colors, and 4 of the of the Glacier colors, so I only have one remaining here. So I'm going to arrange them in the order in which I have put them in the palette here. So there is turquoise, I don't have the blue, then we have the green, then we have the brown, and then we have the black. So the only one I'm missing here is the blue. And then here for the Galaxy, I have pink, violet, I do not have blue, don't have, and then here's the brown, and then I don't have the black. So I am missing 3 of these. And then for the deep sea green, let's see, I have that here. So I don't have the blue, so that first one's gonna be blank. And then the green, violet, I don't have the indigo and the black. Okay, so there's gonna be some gaps here, but I'm gonna go through, make sure that my palette is, I'm gonna move these over, that my palette is positioned correctly so that I make sure I put them where I intended to put them in the palette. Oh, and this is my brush that I'm gonna do the swatches with. So let's go ahead and put it this way. And then I'll have this here as my reference. So the first one is turquoise, Glacier turquoise. And based on the colors on the website, this was the one that really appealed to me the most. So we'll see if that ends up being true once I swatch it. So one nice thing about the Schmincke watercolors, I have found that they usually don't pop out of the tube when you open it up. A lot of brands do. I'm not sure if it's because they have sort of a thicker formula or what the deal is. So, okay, so there's turquoise. Make sure I skip the blue, and then the corner is going to be skipped. So I'm going to go down here for the Glacier green. And this one seems a little bit more, less stiff of a color coming out of the tube. Okay. And then, so brown is next. Put that there. Oop, that one popped a little bit, but it still didn't come running out. And this one seems more liquidy than even the other two. So colors that are a little more liquidy are going to take longer to dry. And I plan to leave this for a day or two, but I'm going to go ahead and swatch them while they're wet. Okay, and then here I have the Glacier black. And I will, oop, see, there you go, always proving me wrong. So the black goes here. All right, and I will come back and do the swatching of the colors that I am missing in this set that I have now once I get the other ones. I literally just placed the order, so again, it might take a little while. But like I said, these came in record time, so maybe their mail protocol is getting a little bit more back to normal. Okay, so for the Galaxy colors, I have the fewest of, but the first one is pink, and I do have that one. So I'm gonna go. Okay. And it's very interesting, they do have different viscosities. Like this one that I first did was definitely the thickest and did not come jumping out of the tube at all. Okay, so then this is for violet, for blue, and then this is for brown, which I do have. So here's the brown. Good thing I have these half pans ready. Okay, so there's the brown. And then we are going to move on to the deep sea, which I have put over here. So blue, which is the first one, is going to be blank because I don't have that one. Green is the next one. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was reading upside down. That's good because this is going to be the green is the first one, and that is this one. Okay. Sometimes I forget whether it's top or bottom that I'm labeling here. Yeah, see, that one didn't come out at all. That's my usual experience with these. Okay, so this one is the deep sea green. I don't know if I was in sort of a teal mood on the day that I ordered these, but I ordered all of the greens because I really liked them. And indigo, which is one of my favorite colors. So I'm going to skip 2 because this is violet and blue, which will be coming. And then this one here is indigo. Yeah, Yeah, again, not coming out. Indigo. And these paints will settle down into the palettes a little bit once they are dry. Okay, and the last one here is black, the deep sea black. And I've noticed that the blacks in here tend to be really either blue tinted or, yeah, I think blue tinted, most of them, but we'll see. So I only have 2 blacks represented today. Oh, that's interesting because that particular black had a very interesting smell. It almost smelled chemically when it was coming out of there. So I really should shake my tubes before I put them out, and I often forget. And usually it's a non-issue, but there you go. Okay, so now they are placed in the palette. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4. Oh, no. So 1 is going to be blank. So then I have 2, 4, 6 coming in the mail in the future. Okay, so I'm going to wet my brush here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you'll be able to see the swatches a little better because my swatch sheet is fairly small, and the reason why I did that is so it would fit in here. The only problem that I have with this particular palette, I'll do a little palette review in the meantime. So a few things. This is a great palette overall, but a few niggling things. So these are obviously very loose in here. So if you don't put some sort of adhesive in here, they're going to fall out if you shake them around. And because there is nothing flat on top of this to hold them in place, they are going to jiggle around. And because there is nothing flat, because both of these little hinged things have wells for mixing, which is great. So then you have 4 really big mixing areas, but you don't have a place in between the mixing areas to put this, because this would just get crushed here because this is going to smush in. So you end up having to leave the swatch sheet on top of the colors, which sometimes leads to some color transfer onto the back. You can see that this particular swatch sheet is a reused piece of watercolor paper from some other swatches. In fact, I think this was the greens mixing that I did when I first started the channel. So I like to conserve paper and reuse if possible. Watercolor paper, most watercolor papers you can use both sides. Some of them are very either textured on one side and smooth on another, for example. This is pentalic watercolor paper, which I actually think is really great for a non-cotton watercolor paper, and both sides of the paper are very, very similar in texture, so you're not going to have a huge difference if you use one side over the other. Okay, so I have to be careful when swatching these to not get too much paint, because when the paints are wet right out of the tube, it's very easy to get too much paint on the brush. Oh, and look at that. That is gorgeous. And I'm hoping that we can see some of the granulation right away, but we may have to wait until that dries a little bit. And I think my brush was a little too wet on that one. Let me see if I can get a little bit more pigment in here so we can get that real lovely granulation going. Okay, and I don't want to put too much in there because then the granulation will kind of overwhelm. Okay, so this is the Glacier Turquoise, and then I'm going to wipe off my brush just a little bit and go into the Glacier Green. Okay, again, I'm just trying to be really careful, and they start to dry really fast, so even though they just came out of the tube wet, they are already starting to dry a little bit in the pans, and that is gorgeous too. You can already see the granulation in there. Okay. I'm gonna rinse my brush and then go into the brown here, and I'll try to make sure that you can see each color. There I probably had a little too much pigment on my brush, which is really, like I said, really easy to do when the paints are still wet. Lovely. And what I might do the next time when I get the rest of these colors in is I might do some bigger swatches so that we can see. But look at that green. It's got some pink going on in there. I think it's green, a green pigment and a violet pigment. Let me actually see what pigments are in here. This is PR 233 and PG 50, so it's a red and a green. That explains why it looked a little bit black when I was first putting it on there. And I do think I went a little heavy on the brown, but if I tilt it a little bit, you can see some of that granulation. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the black now. Try not to get see, it's either like not enough or too much on there. There we go. I get just a little bit more. A little bit more. And I feel like that one had way more of a bluish tint. I'm wondering if that might be one that I need to shake up to get the different pigments to mix, because these are all mixes, and that has PBK 11, which is a black, and PB 35, which is a blue. So there should be some blue in there. You're actually getting a little bit of it as it dries. Okay. All right, I'm going to speed it up a little bit here. So this next one is Galaxy Pink. This one and the Glacier Green were the ones I was most excited about when I saw them. And I will go through which pigments are in each of these at the end, because that seems to take some time away there. Okay, getting a little bit of granulation there, but so far, oh, and you can kind of see the brown separating with a little bit of green now that it's drying. Okay, so this is the Galaxy Brown next. And I would love to see how these mix with other colors, so that'll be fun too. So there's Galaxy Brown. And now I'm moving on to the deep sea colors. The first one is green. So there you go, deep sea green. And you can see that that black is definitely granulating there. Okay, so now we're going to go to the indigo. Actually, let me amend my prior statement. The three colors that I was most excited about were the pink, indigo, and the glacier green. Okay, let's get a little bit more going in there. It's really tricky. You have to get the right amount of pigment versus water. All right, and then I'm going into this black. Yeah, I really do wonder if the blacks in particular I needed to shake, because sometimes some pigments will settle. Because that black doesn't look a whole lot different than the black above. Although this one does have a little bit of a blue tint to it now. You can kind of see that blue undertone. And you can see it almost looks violet. So let's see. I'm going to go back through and see which colors make up what. So the turquoise one here at the top is PG 50 and PV 16. So that's a green and a violet. And then I already told you what was in the green, but the glacier green, but I'll tell you again. PR 233 at PG 50, so a red and a green. The Glacier Brown has PBR6, which is a brown, PG26, which is a green. And you can sort of see that green undertone there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do some larger swatches here in the future because you'll definitely be able to see a little bit better. And then, but the more that one's drying, the more I see the blue in there. So this is Glacier Black, which is PBK11, which is a black, and PB35, which is a blue. Okay, and then the Galaxy Rose is PV16 and PBR33, so a violet and a brown. And then for the Galaxy Brown, it is PV62, PBR6, that's a violet and a brown. Very similar on those two, but definitely a different result. And I think we're going to get all these dry by the time I stop filming, which is good because they definitely are showing their granulation and different color variations here. So this is Deep Sea Green, which is this one here I have my thumb next to, and this is PG18 and PB29. So that is a green and a blue. And then we have the blue, the Deep Sea Blue, the Deep Sea Indigo, which is PV62 and PG18. So a violet and a green. It's very interesting. Make an indigo. And then we have the Deep Sea Black, which is PBK11, which is a black, PB74, which is a blue, and PB35, which is another blue. So that one, I also think some of those blues are actually finally coming out in the granulation. I would say just in these small swatches, I'm not seeing as much granulation in the Deep Sea Green and the Deep Sea Indigo, but I think if I did have a larger swatch, it would show up a little better. But I just wanted to get in here and show you these as soon as I got them so that you could kind of decide whether you wanted to get them, because I don't know how limited they are, and given that, I'm not sure how long they're going to be available. So if you're seeing this sometime in the very far future, then they might be out of stock. So just so you know. But these are lovely. I'm going to really enjoy painting with them, and it's going to make for a really unique palette here. So I'm looking forward to getting the rest of mine in. So right now I have what, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I have 9, and then I'm going to be getting 6 more. All right, so that's it for today. Feel free to like and or subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.